Hey guys, welcome back to another Summoner's War video, and today we are going to talk about 4 teams that can help to counter Khmun, Bastet and Odin, siege defense as well as guild wall defense. Unfortunately, my Khmun is not rune on shield, so actually it's not set up for this team. However, I managed to record down 4 actual guild battles with this team, and I managed to counter this composition. So let's check it out right now. Okay, so for the first team, we are going to try out Water Ryu, Laika and Triana. Why we are using Water Ryu here is because of its passive. If you do not have Water Ryu, you can use the Water Striker, which is essentially the same as Water Ryu, right? The skills. So Water Ryu has this passive which actually offsets the incoming damage, and then it will fill up his attack bar to full and he can move next. So he is really good in countering this team because once Odin has his full stacks, or he doesn't need to have his full stack and he attack Water Ryu, it deals nothing to the Water Ryu, like you can see here, right? His passive proc and there is no damage dealt. And Triana there is for the insurance to be extra safe. Reason why is because, for example, if the enemy's team is not well set up and the Odin does not have the full buff to ignore 100% defense, that will proc Water Ryu's passive. Then in the next turn, when he has his full stack, he attacks Water Ryu again. That will trigger Triana's passive, so that prevents your Water Ryu from dying. My Water Ryu is on Despair, so once it procs his passive, he gains full attack bar. He can use the AoE damage, AoE attack and try to stun the enemy. But I don't think that is that important. His role here is pretty much to tank the attack and let Laika do the job. And why I choose Laika is because his second skill actually ignores any damage reduction effect, and in this case Khmun and Bastet both provides shield. So if your Laika is strong enough, when the Odin uses his skill and he does not have any stack on him, a Justice could kill the Odin. But of course you need really good runes, considering that there's no attack buff for this team. My Laika is not entirely rune super well, so it can't really one-shot Odin. But so far it has been doing his job pretty well. I've tested this team multiple times and it's really good. So once you have killed off Odin, that should be your main focus. You can choose to either kill off Khmun or Bastet, but it might be a good idea to kill off Khmun because he can deal quite a bit of damage, and he also heal blocks your team. Okay, so it's a win. Let's look at the second team. In this second team, we use the Wind Monkey King, Rina, as well as my Tesseract, and the idea for this team is really the Oblivion from Tesseract, and Rina is just there to tank the damage. But of course your Rina must be tanky enough. That is why I use my Wind Monkey King here to tank Khmun's attack as well as to provide the HP lead. If you have the Wind Paladin, that is even more awesome because it has a higher HP leader skill as compared to the Wind Monkey King. And you can actually sub Rina with Camellia as well, because when Camellia takes a critical hit, it actually reduces the damage dealt on her, so Camellia won't really die. I must say that in using Rina here, it depends on how hard the Odin hit. If your Rina dies, then that's it for the team. And Tesseract is there to really just Oblivion Odin so that it doesn't ignore defense when it gets stacked, and then it can go on to Oblivion Khmun, so that it doesn't provide that pesky shield every turn, right? And it makes it really difficult for you to kill off Odin, or in fact even Khmun or Bastet themselves. Okay, moving on to the third team. We have Triana, Caesarion, and Vigor, and essentially the idea is the same. It's really about oblivioning your enemy's team, but in this case I didn't use Rina, but I have my Triana there to actually ensure that my Vigor doesn't die, right? If the Odin right now having the full stack attacks my Vigor, it will trigger my Triana's passive and it just gives my Vigor another life, right? Then my Tessaron can actually follow up to Oblivion Odin. In this case, I Oblivion Khmun first because Odin still has his will up. Yeah, and next it would be to Oblivion Odin so that he can't really deal tons of damage to my Vigor, and my Vigor is pretty tanky and he will be safe. Of course, this depends on whether you can land your Oblivion or not, but if let's say the Khmun uses up all his deck, you still have time. Like just now, I missed my Oblivion, but I still have another chance right now, yes, to stick on the Oblivion on Odin. So once you Oblivion Odin, that's it, right? They will become just fodders. You don't have to be worried that you will be destroyed by Odin because Khmun, although he hit hard, but with Triana tanking it, it should be fine. And Vigor is pretty good here because it defense break. I mean Tessaron does too, but Vigor just provide good utility with healing, the glancing buff on your own team, and then defense break with multiple hits. Yep. So this team is pretty similar to the one before, just that I'm not using Rina. I'm swapping out Rina with Triana to ensure that my team survive. Okay, so easy clap, that's the third team. And let's move on to the last team here. This is pretty interesting. We have Beligo, Frank, and Sameth. The idea here is that Odin will take Sameth's first life, which will give stacks to Odin. Sorry, not Odin, Beligo. And Beligo can use the third skill to try to take out Odin. Essentially, Beligo with the attack lead should be able to take out Odin even without defense break. Then once Sameth revive, he will also deal extra damage to the team and potentially stun them. So that's pretty good. And when Odin takes Sameth's second life again, that gives Odin more buffs, right, to use his last skill, which probably can take out 2 monsters. Yeah, but in this case I'm really lucky. I wasn't paying too much attention on this, so just make sure your Beligo don't die, because he's the main damage dealer here. Yep, so I managed to kill off Khmun, and left Bastet. There's nothing much that she can do except to die. But yeah, you just need to ensure that you have enough damage to ensure that you can clear the team, right? So you can try out this team, it's pretty fun, but if you do not have some map, then I don't think you can really replicate this team. Okay, so these are the 4 teams that I have. Okay, so just a very quick recap on the 4 teams. Essentially there are, I think, 2 main ways to counter this team. One is using Oblivion. If you do not have Caesarion, by right you should. You can use other monsters that will land Oblivion on the team. So Oblivion is one way to do it. Second way is really to tank it out using Triana or, for example, the Water Striker, and have a fire unit there to deal enough damage to take out the Odin within the first 2 to 3 turns. Yeah, once you take out Odin and you are left with Khmun and Bastet, you should be fine. Okay, so these are the 2 main ways, and these are the 4 teams that I have. If you do find this useful, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me a lot. And I will see you next time in the next video. Goodbye.